All right, everyone, thank you for joining our back to school webinar for the 2022-2023 school year. We are definitely excited to have you all here to share some really exciting, good information, give you a good overview of what you can expect really for the first half of the year this year. A couple housekeeping things we want to go over with you right quick. First, this is being recorded. You have given your consent if you're still in this room by now. Number two, you all have been muted upon arrival, so we don't have a ton of background noise going. However, we do want you to ask questions. Don't feel like you have to hold them to the very end. There is a chat box that's readily available for you. Feel free to drop those in as you have questions. We will have some time at the end after we wrap up to hang if you have a very specific question to your particular school that we can talk about that situation offline from this recording. But happy to discuss with you all. And lastly, but also most importantly, please share this information. This is not top secret. We'll share out the slide deck after the fact. The more folks that have a good understanding and are aware of what's happening this year with Unified Champion Schools, the better, right? So share the wealth. So a little bit about who is on the call. So I believe I'm familiar with about everybody on this call. My name is Lauren Salter. I'm the Unified Champion Schools Director for Special Olympics Pennsylvania. And for this crew in particular, I've previously served as your direct contact for all things Unified. However, that is changing this year, and I'm very excited to introduce you all to Megan Petrosic, our new South Central Unified Champion Schools Director, and I'll give her a second to introduce herself. And we also have Carrie Guivido joining us as the Capital Area Regional Executive Director for this particular group of schools here. So Megan, do you want to do a quick introduction of yourself, please?
Sure, thanks, Lauren. Hi, everyone. It's nice to see you all here. As Lauren mentioned, I'm going to be working with everyone, so I'm really excited to get started. Just a little bit about me. I was a former teacher, so kind of coming from your end of it and jumping into this world, and Lauren's been teaching me lots about it, so I'm really excited to get working with all of you, and hopefully I'll be out to meet you all very soon. And if you guys need anything, feel free to reach out, and yeah, don't hesitate to reach out. So I'm really excited to get started.
Awesome. Thanks, Megan. Carrie, do you want to take a second and introduce yourself?
Sure. So I have been with Special Olympics a little over 3 years. I started out as the Area M Program Director and transitioned to the Regional Executive Director for the Capital Area Region just in January. So Lancaster and York are part of that region. Actually, Go York was just down in your neighborhood this afternoon for lunch with some volunteers. So excited to be expanding. I had worked with the UCS program with Shannon in Area M in the capital area, like in the Harrisburg area. So excited to be launching into this in Lancaster and York. I know York is one of our more successful UCS programs, so it's excited to be able to get in and see some of the stuff that you guys are doing. The volunteer I had lunch with today actually brought up Dallastown in our conversation. So you guys are well known. The UCS program is well known down in York County. So excited to be working with you guys and have Megan on board to help us move this initiative forward. So thanks for inviting me to join the call, Lauren.
Awesome. We're definitely happy to have you, Carrie. So a little bit about what we are going to talk about today. So we've gone through some quick introductions there. We're going to cover some things like the UCS components and requirements. We have a lot of new friends with us today to go over that, give you a quick overview of what UCS in Pennsylvania looks like, give you some local program information, which is also why we're excited to have Carrie on this call. So going beyond what's just available within our programming, but going out into community-based programming. A little bit about what's the plans and expectations for this year, which you all can expect from us, as well as what is our focus for the fall and a couple of save the date options up there. And then at the end, we can definitely go through the questions you guys are logging in the chat box as we go along. All right, so a quick overview. Some of you are very familiar with this. A little refresher is always good, right? So our UCS program, our Unified Champion Schools program, consists of 3 primary components. So inclusive sports. So we have a mix here on this call of bocce, track, and a few folks that do bocce and track on this call here. And then inclusive youth leadership, which is our unified club. It can have a variety of different names. We can get a little bit deeper into it as we go through the presentation, but that club is also doing a number of activities, planning whole school engagements, which is that third component there. We ask you to do 3 annually, and we give you 3 give me's in those. You can get creative, but we'll give you 3 right off the bat that the students can really choose to do in a number of different ways and really make it their own. So Cool Schools activities, that's the plunge, the puller pop, and the rain rallies. Fans in the stands, inviting folks to get out to your unified sports and then spread the word. That happens in that first week of March. It's Spread the Word Day, that first Wednesday. All right, so here's a little picture on the side here just to give you a little image to show you all 3 of those components are equally important to us. So when we combine all those components, that's what really makes a successful, fully operating unified champion school. So one of the things that we do require is 3 reports a year. So those are the fun things that you have received from me in the past that will ask a number of different items. Basically, it's what are you doing within your schools? How many folks are being affected or being exposed to the awesome inclusionary whole school engagement activities that you're putting on? Like, what is your club doing? So those 3 reports include a mid-year report, and that pops up in January. So after you get back from winter break, about mid-January, that's going to come out. It's a Google form that comes directly from us. It will come from Megan. The second one is the UMass survey. So this survey comes out in late April, and this comes directly from the University of Massachusetts. So it looks very different. It will come to who we have in our contact list and portal as the primary contact for that school. It can only be sent to one person, so nobody be offended if somebody else in the school gets it. There's only one contact that we can list for that. The third and final report that we need from y'all each year is the end of year report. And that again comes directly from us. Looks exactly the same as the mid-year, only we're looking at what did you do from January to June in that report. Okay, so we can capture all that awesomeness, and we use that information to help justify our grants so we can continue doing and offering the same support that we offer you each year. So UCS in Pennsylvania. Here's a little snapshot about what it looks like and some of our numbers and stats that came from last year. And some of these numbers came directly from our end of year reports, so those things that come from you at the end of the year. So at this point, we have about 14 dedicated staff that touch UCS in some way. That includes part-time staff and full-time staff. This year, we have 2 brand new full-time staff, Megan included in that grouping there, to help us improve our general support to each of the schools. So for last year, we had a total of 284 active schools. Of those, we had 4,391 participants. That includes athletes and unified partners that participated in a total of 244 individual competitions across the state. So that's sports there. And then for 3 components, so inclusive youth leadership, whole school engagements, and a sport, we had 71% of our schools that were active on all 3 components. That's definitely something that we're going to look to improve this year, and then overall improve the quality of each of those components within the schools with giving you extra support. I'll turn it over to Carrie to go over some local program opportunities that are available.
Sure, thanks, Lauren. Sure, thanks. Can you hear me okay? My internet has been kind of weird.
You're good.
Do you hear me?
You just cut in and out a little bit, but you're pretty solid.
Okay, all right. So there are lots of program opportunities that go beyond just our school-based program that you guys are involved in. And certainly we want to encourage our UCS athletes in the schools to continue their involvement in our community-based program. And so there's opportunities for them to do not only sports training, but also competition. And that competition can be local, state, national, and international. Lauren and I had the opportunity this past summer to travel to Florida with our Team PA for USA games. So there's a chance for them to go places beyond Pennsylvania and have that camaraderie. Also opportunities for them to volunteer. There's fundraising opportunities. Lauren talked about the Polar Pop, and I know in our region we have several fundraising events, so there's ways for them to get involved with that. Also leadership opportunities. So a lot of people think that Special Olympics is just about sports, and it's not. We have a really large athlete leadership program, which takes our volunteers or takes our athletes and teaches them speaking skills and interacting with people and how to go out and talk about Special Olympics. And so they get these leadership skills and they're able to do things in the community and really just have explosive growth as individuals. And there's also the social opportunities. I think one of the things most missed by our community-based athletes during the pandemic was being with each other and seeing their friends and getting together all the time. So there are those friendships that are formed, and I've seen that when we go to some of our state competitions. I mean, these two athletes that are in this picture are from two different counties and have become best friends just seeing each other at competitions. So there are those social opportunities to get to make new friends and meet new people. Lauren, next slide, please. This is just a snapshot of the different sports that are available by season within the Lancaster and York area. So you can see there's pretty much something for everybody every season. So any of these sports are available for your athletes to get involved with in the community-based program and train really all year round, not just when they're doing sports within the school. Next slide, Lauren. And this just gives you some local program context. So it is the staff that works in our regional office, and then our phone number at the bottom, and of course our emails attached to each of us. So if you have any questions or you have an athlete that you want to get involved in the local program, please feel free to reach out to one of our regional staff folks, and we can certainly help you out with that. The most probably the right person to reach out to is John Brownson, but if you reach out to any of us, we'll be happy to help you get that person signed up for community-based programs. And if you go onto our website, you can check out the different training sites that we have. You can search by county, so you should be able to find what's close by you and where it is. So, but happy to help. If you guys have questions, just give us a call at the regional office. Thanks, Lauren.
Thanks, Carrie. Oh, I missed that. I'm sorry. There's a little slide just on registrations for winter sports.
Right, I got it. Sorry, I forgot I had this one. So we are starting now where folks sign up for our winter sports so that we can make sure that we have enough coaches and equipment and stuff like that. So we do have our local winter sports sign up, which is open right now. It'll be open through October 15th. Athletes can sign up to do more than one sport in a season. But they only can compete in one of them. So I have several athletes who do 3 or 4 sports in a season, but they only go to state competitions or sectional competitions in one of those sports. So there's going to be a link in the slide deck that Lauren sends out to you that you'll be able to go out and fill in that sign up. And if they're a new athlete, we will reach out to them and get them all the stuff that they need in place.
Awesome. Thanks, Carrie.
I think that's. What's that?
I said, awesome. Thank you, Carrie.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thanks. So here's a little bit about what you all can expect from us this year. So we have definitely been doing a lot of work over the summer, had taken a lot of feedback that y'all had provided from us and talked as a team, and really decided that one of our big goals is we wanted to update and improve a lot of our resources and give as much information as we could in advance. Over the last couple of years with COVID, we were forced to be very reactionary. However, we're at a point where we feel comfortable to be able to provide stuff more in advance, give you some more concrete items there. So we worked on updating, improving those resources. We are full bore for in-person competitions this year, in-person youth summits. Last year, we were able to host a total of 20 summits across the state. Those tended to be in a smaller format since there was still a lot of restrictions on large gatherings. But this year we have currently 14 larger summits planned for across the state. We also have a lot of improved communication and support items that we've put together, hiring additional staff being part of that to give you more direct support, more timely responses on things. A monthly newsletter that you all would have received on that first initial email that we sent out this year, that really fun long email. Really wanted to pack it with just good information so you're not getting a bunch of sporadic emails. We all get enough emails as it is. So we didn't want to overload you with that, but really just put it in one spot. So those newsletters are really meant to give you, hey, so here's some concrete deadlines coming up. Here's what you can expect. Here are some awesome things that have happened to just keep you in the know of things on a regular basis throughout the year. During sports season, we'll start up our weekly sports specific emails that'll go out to the coaches each week with some tips and tricks and deadlines. Those will be going out. And then we are in the process of finalizing some updates to our website to make it more user-friendly, to provide some more substance in there as far as resources for liaisons, for coaches, for parents and athletes that are going to that space to find what they need to be successful. So on your left here, you'll see what we call UCS Year at a Glance. And this also was included in that first initial email to give you a good idea of what can be expected each month as we go throughout the year. And those newsletters will really help hammer down exactly some specific dates that are coming up. All right, so I will pass it over to Megan to go over some of the goals that we have for this year.
Thanks, Lauren. All right, yeah, so some of our goals for this year, we're looking to add 106 new schools, and I know the team's already kind of hammering away at that. So yeah, looking to really expand. We're also looking to increase the number of schools that are operating at that 3 component level. So the inclusive sports, the inclusive youth leadership, and that whole school engagement. So just looking to increase the number of schools that are operating all 3 of those. We're also wanting to strengthen the youth leadership overall in general across the state. And then also just improve the overall experience for the athletes, the liaisons, the coaches, and just try to make this the best experience for everyone as possible. All right, and then some focus for the fall. So one thing is club activation. So just with the club having those regular meetings and planning for the whole school engagements. There's also youth summit planning, which I know we'll talk a little bit more about the youth summits, but having that student selection and commitment to attending the youth summit, as well as bocce recruitment, which we'll also talk a little bit more about that, but definitely don't wait. Recruit now, the sooner the better. And there are the PIAA and Special Olympic forms available for that.
Thanks, Megan. So a big focus for us definitely is our club activation piece, right? So think of fall as our club development season, since we don't do a fall sport per se. So club season is our fall season. So some big things, we have some veterans on this call. We have some newer folks on this call. So just doing some quick questions here of, hey, do you have a club? If the answer is yes, that's awesome. Megan will continue to work with you and get to know the awesome things that you're doing to share that with other folks whose answer might be no. And if that answer is no, we're not going to panic. We're good to go. That's what Megan is here for. She's going to help make it happen for this year of, hey, starting small, growing it, seeing is there another club that you can piggyback off of if there isn't one already in existence, and making sure that you're meeting those requirements on that. That's what she's for. Megan is your direct support for all things unified. We would love to see that club meeting at least 1 to 2 times per month. If it's more than that, that is awesome. There's not a limitation on how many times you can meet per month. We know that a lot of schools do have like a dedicated time that they have clubs meet. So whatever falls into that for your school is 100% okay. Then that next question is, are you reporting? This crew actually does a fairly darn good job of reporting. We get a really high response rate from our York Lancaster folks. So kudos to you all, and please keep up the good work on that. The more responses we get on those reports, the better. because we aim to have 100% responses on our reporting for each of those. And then if you have any questions, it says contact me. You can contact me. I prefer that you contact Megan. Megan is your girl. So if there is a question that Megan can't answer, I'll be working with her directly as she's getting her feet under her, learning the program, but she is the person to go to. Youth Summit. So our theme for this year is Superheroes of Success. Some of our goals around that is to bring our student leaders. These are your top kiddos that really are leading things within your schools, bringing them together to network and collaborate with one another, to teach and develop some leadership skills. And ultimately what we want them to do is be able to leave that summit with an action plan of knowing how to implement a variety of whole school engagements. Like, we would love for them to have one done before winter break hits, but ultimately it's not just that one go all out whole school engagements, is giving them the skills to be able to implement a variety of them throughout the year. So we have this theme of inclusion that is being given to this whole student body throughout, from now through June, that they have different opportunities to be exposed to those things. So really, who should be coming to this youth summit? All right, so in the past, it was strictly the 4 students and 1 liaison. We are now expanding that to 2 adults. That comes from feedback from you all that it would be beneficial to be able to have a club liaison and a unified sports coach come. And then us developing our liaison track around who is in attendance, so that information can be tailor-made to the folks that are attending. And in the registration, you'll have an opportunity to plug in some specific questions or topic items that would be important to you as coaches or liaisons to discuss during that time. For student selection, extremely critical. Again, this group is really good about it, of picking students that are going to really get the most out of this, that are coming back to your school and able to make progress on putting these things into place. So those 4 students, it's 2 students with intellectual disability, 2 students without. We prefer them to not be seniors. If you have a senior or 2 in there, that's okay. Let's just not have 4 seniors in there, right? So we can make sure we have a succession plan for our student leadership crews. These really are your leaders that are within your clubs. So just don't lose sight out of this. It is a leadership skill development opportunity, not just a fun field trip. It'll be fun. We're gonna have a blast, but we really want everybody to get the most out of it possible. All right, so there is some TBDs around y'all's youth summit at the current moment in time, so that this is going to be coming to you very quickly. We're finalizing some details and wanting to have things concrete before we send things out. So what you're targeting is, and I know you all need dates, so you can request transportation and get board approval for all of that and have those things in there. We're looking at late October. By late, I mean like that very last week of October and the beginning of November. So you'll have time to put those things in there. The timeline will be the same that's listed here. We'll have a 9 a.m. start, a 1 p.m. finish, so everybody can get back for transportation in the afternoon. We will provide lunch. Folks will get t-shirts. We will have a blast. We'll have some new activities that are being implemented as well. All right, Megan, you want to go over some bocce recruitment?
Thanks. So yeah, bocce recruitment. So one thing to definitely note is the season begins sooner this year. So November 18th is when the season kicks off, and I believe that's when practices can start being held. Is that right, Lauren?
Yes, November 18th,
Okay.
first day practice can start, right in line with PIAA's winter season.
Thanks. Yep. So practices can start then. The roster is due December 5th. So you do still have a little bit of time for that. And then competition can begin on December 12th. So it's definitely important to recruit now, especially with the season starting sooner. And these are just a few forms and everything that will need provided. So the PIAA instructions, the physical form, and the Special Olympics participation waiver.
Yep, so all of those would have been provided in that first email. So just a reminder that that waiver, that's linked directly in the SOPA instructions there. That's that Google Doc that is the waiver form. Thanks, Megan. All right, so polar plunge or pool schools activities for this year. So our overall expectation is that all of our returning schools do some form of a pool schools activity. There's a variety of ways to participate in that. We have listened to a lot of feedback on what folks' experiences were last year, and really did some new designing of how this is being implemented. And one of the big improvements that they've made is to design a site that is strictly for pool schools. So it's not trying to find your way through a polar plunge set of links. There is a specific school site, and all three ways to participate, whether it's an in-person, a pop, or a rain rally, are all within that site. So you're able to create a team. It's open now. So I put the link in here. So it's available when we share the slide deck. You can create a team. Same rules apply. You can make up any team name that you want to. We like to have you have your school name within that team name, but there's also an additional question in there that you will have to put your team name. We do that because we want to be able to allocate and credit the school with what you all have raised there. So that's what we're aiming for, is have all our returning schools. If you're a brand new school, or if you're a school that hasn't been active for a little while and you're coming back on board, we're excited to have you, and we would love for you to take part in this. This is one of the ways that we are able to continue what we do. So we bring in funds a variety of different ways. Fundraisers and grants are the ways that we are able to continue Unified Champion schools across the state. So it's getting a couple different things. One is it allows us to continue to operate. And then two, it gives your students a really cool whole school engagement and leadership opportunity in playing, working with us on that. So I mentioned it before, there's three ways to participate. Rain rally, that's having a fire station come out, bring out a fire engine, shoot some water in the air, have the students run through that. A really cool thing that people are jumping on board for. Our polar pop, similar to an ice bucket challenge of popping the water balloon over someone's heads. And then an in-person plunge. So you guys do have a plunge that is available to you. It's at Gifford Pinchot State Park, and that will be on January 21st. So there is a lot more information that can go with this. So if you have questions, it's okay. We're actually going to do a webinar specific just to Cool Schools activities. So answering any and all questions that you may have revolving around this. All right, so the back to school survey. If you haven't filled it out, please do so. What this allows us to do is be aware of any personnel changes that you've had. Let us know if you've got new folks, you've got folks that aren't coaching anymore, and you've got new coaches in, so we can be prepared, make sure that they get the training that they need, and that we're giving the information to the right folks. A lot of switches happen in the summertime, and we want to make sure that we're connecting with the people that we truly need to and want us to be connecting with. We'll ask you to upload an image of your school logo. We use that in a few different places, and it's really helpful if you can give us the one that you prefer, and then also let you relay any questions, concerns, and any feedback that you have for us as we're getting ready to jump into the school year. So I wanted to plug this one in here because in York, we have a really cool opportunity for our students to have a unique volunteering experience. So indoor winter games is March 3rd through the 5th, and it is in York City. So we have been talking, it's one of the committees that I'm on that has a ton of things that students can do. And we have a goal of having at least four schools take part in this in some way, shape, or form, whatever fits y'all's schedule, whatever you students would like to participate in. But it's an opportunity to support community-based competition, expose your students to a world of Special Olympics outside of school. And if anybody is interested or has interest in that, to go ahead and contact me directly so we can set up where where it's going to work best for you and be able to provide some advanced training to you and the students that would like to participate. Just a little plug in here of what sports are offered. So we have bowling. We do those at Colony Park and Laser Lanes. And then speed skating and figure skating are both hosted at the York Ice Arena. And then we have floor hockey that's over at the convention center over there at the fairgrounds. Okay, a couple of save the dates. We owe you some U Summit dates and deadlines, late October, early November. Your preseason bocce coaches webinars. So mark your calendars for that. 2 choices. Don't have to come to both, just pick one unless you really want to hang out with us for the same information. But November 1st, November 3rd will be those. Your bocce season can start as of November 18th. The Capital Area Polar Plunge at Gifford Pinchot is going to be January 21st. And then your indoor winter games are March 3rd through the 5th. Again, we'll be sending out that monthly newsletter to provide more specific dates again and upcoming webinars, anything that's popping up. So if you forget it here, don't worry. We're going to continue to provide you that on a regular basis. Also, social media, so big. We are also trying to be so much better about this. So want to provide you all of our different handles for our different platforms that we are on as an organization with Special Olympics Pennsylvania, and then a couple of national handles as well with Unified Generation that has a really cool TikTok and a really cool YouTube page with Unified Generation. So has a ton of materials and cool things to share with your clubs and students. Colin has a lot of strong feelings about that social media piece. So at that point, we will go ahead and we'll jump into questions and some answers here. So I'm actually going to stop the recording. There we go.